It's time to wake up with a nice cup of morning roast. Featuring
Fillmore's finest, Monte Hill. The pride of the Excelsior, Joe Butcher Boy Shasky. You're listening to 95.7 The Game, the morning roast.
It's kind of strange that we didn't have a Niner and Warrior game yesterday, but it was a good day and a great sports weekend nevertheless. World Series champion gets crowned. Shout out to Dusty Baker and the Houston Astros. More specifically, shout out to Dusty Baker. A lot of great college football, a lot of good NFL games yesterday, including last night as Patrick Mahomes put on the show in the second half and wheeled the Kansas City Chiefs to another big-time win on Sunday Night Football. Shasky, what is happening?
I mean, man, it was a great sports weekend. I found myself in front of the couch as it was wet, cold conditions out there in the Bay Area, and I enjoyed it thoroughly, absolutely thoroughly. Where do you want to start? You want to start with baseball?
We go wherever you want to go. You want to start with baseball.
Well, I mean, the free agency is about to start up, and I've got notes on every beat. I've got you hear that? I don't know if the mic's picking it up. There we go. I've got an entire notepad full of notes. NFL notes. I've got NBA notes. I've got things galore. Let's start here with baseball. Number one, Dusty Baker. Look, you're the same age as I am, and Roger Craig was the manager before Dusty Baker for the San Francisco Giants. It felt like in the early 90s, as a diehard Giants fan, even as a young man, they're on their way out the door. Felt like they were going to leave St. Petersburg. And I remember opening up the Chronicle in the kitchen one day in the Sporting Green and seeing the mocked up jerseys for the St. Petersburg Giants. Remember that?
Oh, yeah.
And they get Dusty Baker and Barry Bonds in the same offseason. And it felt like a culture change. And it felt like that was the thing that flipped the script for me. And one of my favorite teams of all time is the 93 Giants. I don't care that they didn't win a championship. They're the seminal team that helped create the wild card. They made me into the diehard Giants fan that I am today. And I look at Dusty Baker as somebody who just exudes cool. And yeah, I know, he for years was the Marty Schottenheimer of baseball. He'll get you to the playoffs, but he'll lose in horrific fashion. And to hear him talk about Game 6 and how he had to sleep Game 5 going into Game 6 and think about the Game 6s, NLCS, Cubs, and Marlins, Giants, World Series 2002, and then now he finally gets his opportunity. It's just, it's incredible. And I know that a lot of people don't like the Astros, and that's fine. But for Dusty Baker, man, I mean, that's just what an incredible baseball life this guy's lived.
Yeah, no doubt about that. And to see Dusty at 73 years old finally get his due after over 2,000 wins, not blowing in the World Series. And Yordan Alvarez with the big blast, so much power there to put the Astros through. And a great World Series. It was a very well played, very entertaining World Series that ended Saturday night. So I'm happy for Dusty. By the way, good morning to everybody out there getting off their graveyard shifts. It's a little wet out there, a little rainy.
Yeah,
that
slick.
Fall weather's coming out. I see all the leaves on the streets, which is a lot of fun. Baby Chaz got to play in the leaves yesterday, which I was like, fall, my type of season.
Nice.
Well, good morning, everybody out there.
It's your season.
Yeah, it is my season. Well, I'm an all-season guy, especially in San Francisco where we don't have a season.
Okay, so you went from fall is my season
fall
to
is my
I'm an
season
all-season
too.
guy.
You know what? It's just the weather. Like, you're in the city, 60 degrees, crisp air, leaves all over the ground, kind of wet. I love this type of weather. I'm not a guy who loves the sun, who wants to be out there by the beach. This is my type of weather. Hoodie season, peacoat season, as we say in the city of San Francisco, or heck, in the Bay Area. Everybody says that in the Bay Area. But good morning, everybody out there getting off their graveyard shift. Teachers, students, firefighters, cops. Lutman, who's wearing a nice little Charlie Ward jersey today because Florida State beat up on the U. It wasn't even close. I was actually disappointed because Florida State, Miami, whenever that game, you saw it on the calendar, you circled it, and it usually meant down to the wire, hard-hitting, physical, entertaining football. Miami didn't even show up.
Tyler Van Dyke went from a first-round draft pick prospect to, I don't even know, like,
I'm wondering where he's going to transfer to this offseason. Like, that's how
but he's
bad
like
it's gotten.
23, isn't he?
No, I think he's like 2021. He was a redshirt
I thought he was
freshman last
23.
year. So, I mean, he's still got time to move around, but Yeah, I was always disappointed. I think Bobby Bowden once said it best after '97. It's a shame that the rivalry's gotten to this point right now.
Yeah, it is a shame. Mike Norvell was looking
game was
good.
boring.
That game was very boring.
Well,
I switched it.
Even the Georgia-Tennessee game was boring because Georgia got up and it felt like Tennessee didn't have enough to fight back in it. Georgia's elite.
Yeah.
Bennett, speaking of guys that are like 30 years old,
Right.
Stenson Bennett,
But you know what, though?
I can't.
That first half, though, that environment,
No, it was
that
awesome.
crowd, and that defense, the fluster Tennessee.
come on.
Tennessee committed 5 first-half false starts. 5 first-half false starts.
The Hedges.
That crowd was rocking. And to see Georgia just hit them and slow down that high-powered offense, yeah, it is Georgia's championship to lose. Now, Ohio State, we'll see about them. We'll see about Michigan. Clemson loses.
Don't sleep on USC. I still think they got an outside shot here, and I would like to see them in it. To me, Caleb Williams is the best quarterback prospect in football. I know people are going to go with Bryce. I think he's a little small. I love Bryce. I love his feel. I worry about how thin he is. Caleb Williams, his feel for the game is spectacular. I've watched a lot of him this year. I was not a believer at first. He's completely won me over. I'm not some USC homer. Caleb Williams is the real deal.
You know, to be honest with you, I was actually more impressed with him at Oklahoma. Look, we'll see. He's got some big games ahead of him. When he was at Oklahoma, and he's the same guy, obviously. He's playing for Lincoln Riley. He can move around and stuff like that.
Defenses they're going
I've
up
seen
against are
some
not
of
good.
the clips I've seen every now and then. I'm like, all right, that's a little inaccurate. All right, he's forcing it to this guy. He's getting better and better. You got to remember, he's only played, like a full season now because he came midway
He's
through
19.
the season. I know, exactly. He's 19 years old.
He'll be a top 5 pick in a
There's
year
no
and a half.
doubt.
All right?
There's no doubt.
I'm just telling you, my feel watching him, his feel for the game is spectacular.
Well, I'll tell you the feel I don't have. I mean, the guy who doesn't have a feel for the game, and he needs to leave. And it's DJ out of Clemson.
Well,
I mean, they lose to Notre Dame. And Big B, shout out to Matt Payne. He's texting me like, I'm taking Notre Dame first half. So as a gambler, when you see a spread, it's the number 4 overall team going to Notre Dame. And we've all watched Notre Dame.
And Freeman has basically lost. They lost to Marshall, and they lost to some other random team.
They lost to Marshall. They lost to Stanford.
Yeah. But no, they lost to 2 random teams.
Yeah, well, Stanford's random this year. Did you see them give up 42 points at the half?
I mean,
David Shaw's got to go. Bye-bye. But it's a gambler.
So weak.
As a gambler. But you know what? The Pac-12 is tied with the SEC for
I know,
5
because they've got
ranked
Oregon
teams.
up there.
I know.
And after they got their
Bo
butt
Nix.
kicked by Georgia.
Bo
I do not.
Nix.
Do you believe in Bo Nix?
Not really.
Okay.
But the gambling gods were basically screaming, take Notre Dame. Clemson's the number 4 team in the country playing Notre Dame, and they were only 3.5 point favorites. In Notre Dame, South Bend. But, Clemson travels. It's all good.
Yeah.
Big B texts me, goes, I'm slamming Notre Dame first half. This spread is way too fishy. Way too fishy. Now, I didn't have the gall to do that. I'm not betting against Clemson. But tracking it, I was like, oh, my God. Clemson looks terrible.
Yeah.
Terrible. And DJ, I don't know if it's the offense. I don't know if it's him. But he has regressed. From the last time he was at Notre Dame, he looked dynamic.
He did. This Clemson offense, and this goes back to Trevor Lawrence, and we'll get into the quarterbacks in the NFL because I got a little something for Justin Fields fans that are going crazy this morning.
I know. Talk to me.
No, but I watched that Clemson offense for many years, and this is why I was so high on Mike Williams, for example. Literally, their entire offense is shotgun, spread you out, slants.
Yep.
And it's just like staring down the barrel of the staring down the into the barrel. All they do is slants. Their offense is so boring.
Yeah, slants, wide receiver screens, deep routes, and stick routes. That's it. That's all they do.
Very minimal offense, and that's why you're seeing Trevor. Trevor's struggling. I'm just call it what it is. He's gotten a lot of starts. Everything. He's struggling. I still like him. This thing that he was the best prospect since Andrew Luck. We can throw that out the window. But I'm not high on their offense, B. And when I look at some of these guys that are coming into the league, and this is why I like Caleb, I'm watching a guy who can deliver the ball in a variety of ways. He just has a better feel for how to get the ball down the field.
He's a solid player. He's a very, very solid player. Now, he's got some big games ahead of him. Played okay against Utah, the one game USC lost. Hopefully they make the Pac-12 championship, but I don't know. Utah's still knocking on the door, right? They're still knocking on the door. So hopefully Caleb, we could see him against a team like Ohio State. We could see him against a team like Michigan.
You will see USC against Ohio State. That's coming to a conference near you.
Unfortunately, next year, I want to see it this year.
Yeah,
Now,
I
I'm
know,
looking
I'm
at the
with you.
conference. Since Pac-12, did they split? They're not two divisions anymore?
It used to be North-South.
They're not North-South anymore?
I don't know. They used to be. It used to be the South winner would play the North winner in the Pac-12 championship
So
game.
there are still two divisions, North and South,
Yeah.
but the way the championship game goes, it's top two teams regardless of division.
So they switched it, yeah, because you kept getting like a 2 or 3 loss South team going up because that's where Oregon and Stanford were good back when Stanford had good seasons.
So they're really pushing. They really want. Well, Utah's going to play Oregon soon, and so maybe Oregon gets that loss. Maybe Utah can upset them, and we get a USC-Utah rematch, or we see USC-Oregon. UCLA, USC, that's another good contest there that they're going to play later on, the showdown in LA. So Pac-12, not bad. I want to see Caleb against a tougher defense. Haven't played, who's USC played? Other than Utah.
in Utah, nobody.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just
Yeah, I don't
Bonte. I think the Pac-12 sucks.
Yeah.
There's 2 teams that are good. Oregon, 3, I guess technically. Oregon, Utah, and USC. And
Yeah.
I guess UCLA's got a good record. But does anybody believe in Chip?
Yeah.
I don't. Whatever. Anyway, enough of college football for a second. And I just want to
Brock Bowers, by the way. People want us to talk more about Brock Bowers.
Napa, California.
I love Brock Bowers.
Well, him and the other tight end
Washington,
for Georgia are
number
ridiculous.
0.
Yeah, they're ridiculous. Their entire team is ridiculous. I'm telling you, this is a quarterback. If they had a legit prospect at quarterback, we would look at them as one of the great teams of all time.
So I'm going to go back to baseball for a second because free agency will start
Oh, I got a
Thursday.
list.
Aaron Judge, Carlos Rodon. Carlos Rodon opted out of his deal. He's going to seek more money, more years. We see Diaz from the New York Mets re-sign with the Mets, 5 years, $100 million.
$102 million. Woo!
So that's big time money for a closer.
closer?
Big time money for a closer. Don't know about that, but Cohen's going to spend a lot of money.
Yes.
The owner of the New York
Yes.
Mets, they're going to spend money. Anthony Rizzo opts out last night from the New York Yankees, first baseman. Wouldn't mind that as a lefty power hitter. He's a little up there, but we've watched Brandon Belt for the last decade.
Bonte. Now, you would take Rizzo. Seriously, you're looking at this
I would take Rizzo.
for a multi-year deal.
Couple years.
He's 33, batted .225.
Yeah, I know, but he's got power. He's got power. Plate presence.
21
1 year
timeout,
flyer.
timeout.
1 year flower. 1 year flyer.
21 of his 32 home runs this year would not have been home runs at 18.
I hear that. I hear you.
21 of them.
A flyer for Anthony Rizzo?
No, because it's not going to cost a flyer. This is a guy who wants to win and get paid simultaneously. And to me, I'd rather have Josh Bell, who I don't believe is as good right now as Anthony Rizzo, but Rizzo's going to be followed.
I like
that
Josh.
is a straight Sabian move
I
to bring in 34-year-old at the beginning of the year, Anthony Rizzo.
For 1 year, I like Josh Bell a lot. Switch hitter, came over from Washington to San Diego. Didn't have the best year in San Diego, but I think highly of the young man. I just don't. I don't know. I've seen too much inconsistencies for Josh Bell. Way too much. Too many strikeouts. He'll get hot for a while. He'll get hot. But Rizzo, I just know what he is.
Yeah, he's going to command $20+ million a year, which is a shocking number when you hear out loud.
Which is crazy.
It is,
Which
and
is
that's
crazy.
why I'm not paying him. And I'm looking at this and I'm saying, I think you can get Josh Bell for half that price.
Maybe, but Josh Bell's going to want a lot more years.
I think he's a 3 or 4 year deal guy.
See, the way I look at it is, if you get Rizzo, right, he's a placeholder for whatever you do the next year at first base. For whatever you do, if you want to bring a prospect, if you want to go sign somebody else at first base, whoever becomes a free agent. Now, I don't know who's going to be a free agent in 2024. It's just more of a stopgate, 1 year deal. If it's 20, I'll do it for 1 year.
Why does he want to come here for 1 year?
I don't know.
I'm just thinking-
Same reason why Aaron Judge would want to come here.
Aaron Judge would want to come for a 7-year deal and for hundreds of millions of dollars. I just look at Rizzo and I say a 1-2 year deal. That is such a giant Sabian, and I don't rip Sabian, but clinging to try to get back into the playoffs for one last run. They've got to build something for a 3-4 year run, not a 1 year run. That's the way I view it.
So Carlos Rodon, let's look at him. Carlos Rodon, and Flynn tipped us off. Flynn tipped us off when he basically said early. And I was like, oh, Rodon's not coming back. And the way this regime looks at pitchers and the way they go out there and find pitchers, they don't believe in giving pitchers maybe 5-year deals. And Carlos Rodon's a guy who had a spectacular season. I do caution, I've told you this, I do caution, can he stay healthy? Is that just a contract year type of season where he knows if I go out there and ball out and play through some things, I'm going to get paid? I'm not sure I would give Rodon a 5-year deal. If it's 3, I'm doing that. If it's 5, I'm I may have to say bye-bye and throw it to deuces, Carlos Rodon.
How many lefties who throw 98 with a ridiculous, devastating breaking ball are available in baseball right now?
Not a lot.
Whether it be trade or free agency.
Not a lot.
Like,
Not a
if
lot.
he was a righty, I would listen to you. Like, because he's a lefty, I think that makes a big difference. I look at what the Astros have done, and the reason why they're the champs right now. They play a brand of baseball that I just absolutely love. Speed. They hit for power. They hit for contact. They put the ball in play. They don't strike out. They play elite defense, and they have elite pitching start to finish. Everyone's going to go McCullers and Verlander.
No, it's Valdez and Javier and those guys. Those guys.
Even
are legit.
Garcia,
Garcia's
who you
nasty.
didn't really see but a couple of times in the playoffs. Like, you've got to have pitching. And so I look at it this way. You assume that Harrison's going to be coming up. He's the lefty prospect that most Giants fans have either been reading about or hearing about. He's going to have an opportunity. Do you really trust Alex Wood? Do you really trust DeSclafani?
No, I don't.
Now, they're probably going to get priced out on Rodon. But if I had it my way, 4-year deal, $32 million a year.
32?
Yes. That's what he's going to command.
Wow. 4 years, $120 million. Can I get him from 3 for
No.
90? Can I get him 3 for 90?
See, I think if he takes a 3-year deal, he's going to be asking for $35 million. And maybe I'm misreading the market. I just look at this like the Yankees should be all in on Rodon. Why they would not be? I don't get it. Toronto Blue Jays should be all in on
Yeah,
Rodon.
and I think
There's a
they
lot
will.
of teams. I think Seattle is a great fit for Rodon.
Don't you think that the Giants are cool with him leaving? I don't think they're going to make a big-time play for him.
Well, no, they're probably not. But I would like to see him come back because I look at the fastest way to compete is to neutralize hitting with elite pitching.
Well,
and I think that plays in every ballpark.
There's some pitchers out there. Jacob deGrom has a player option. Justin Verlander has a player option. I get it. He's 39 years old. It's going to be 40. Still pitching at a high level. Jacob deGrom is nasty. He's going to be 34, 35 years old next year. He's probably going to command a lot of money. Would you rather invest in him if you had the choice, Rodon or DeGrom? DeGrom's a righty, but damn.
I mean, you want to talk about injuries. I mean,
He's got a lot of injuries
he's
too.
like at the top
But he's
of
got
the
a
list.
big, but he's got a bigger track record than Rodon.
No, he
right?
does. He does. He also has a lot of wear and tear on that body. I like DeGrom. DeGrom's a flyer guy, though, to me. Like, DeGrom, I don't put in the category of Rodon. Rodon had a hell of a year this year.
Did you see DeGrom when he came back?
No doubt. But he's been hurt like crazy.
Yeah, he is lights out.
I mean,
he's throwing 100. He's got the nasty change. He's got the nasty off-speed stuff. If you had a game right now to give the ball to Rodon or DeGrom, I'm giving it to DeGrom.
After
no doubt
this
about
last
it.
year?
Absolutely.
I mean, Rodon was a top 5 Cy Young candidate.
I hear you.
And should have been.
But I saw DeGrom come back late in the season and just be lights out.
I think that's prisoner of the moment of the last couple months. Rodon was ridiculous throughout
Rodon
the
was
year.
good.
He had 2 bad road starts that ruined all of his numbers where he had to stay out there because they had no bullpen. Rodon was as good as there was in baseball this year. I mean, he really was.
He was good. He was good. He was really good.
So you talk about free agency, and I just wrote down a bunch of names. There's also an article out today about The Athletic as we're talking about baseball free agency, and it's regarding Shohei Ohtani. There are 9 teams poised to try to make a move for Shohei Ohtani. He's got 1 year left on his deal. Now, just to give you an idea of what Shohei did last year, Bonte, he had a 2.33 ERA, 166 innings. He would have basically been the 3rd best in terms of innings eaters in the Giants rotation, right? Because Rodon was at the top, Webb at the top, and then there's a big drop-off in terms of who actually pitched a lot of innings. He's basically was the 6th best pitcher in baseball this year based off the raw data, okay? He hit 34 homers as well, all right, with an 875 OPS. If you were combining players just based off comps, you're looking at basically Max Fried meets Jose Abreu. That's what you're getting in someone like Ohtani. So they put out the 9 teams that would want to trade for him. Listen to what the Giants one was, the offer was, and it's almost laughable because he's got 1 year left on his deal and you have to pay him as well. The offer was for the Giants, this is based on an Athletic article, Ken Rosenthal and a bunch of contributors. The Giants would have to give up Luciano, Matos, Harrison, and David Villar. Your top
You wouldn't do
3
that for
prospects.
Shohei Ohtani?
Your top 3 prospects for 1 year of team control?
You don't have faith in maybe re-signing Ohtani, getting him in the building?
I would just wait the 1 year and sign him in free agency.
Now you're gambling with everybody.
No question. I know, but that is a lot.
Angels may trade him mid-season.
And then they'd lose, obviously,
Lose
value.
value. That'd be a tough one for me to say no to.
I mean, you're gonna let
If
Rodon walk, and then you're gonna bring in a righty pitcher, and then you're gonna lose your best left-handed top, and he's the second best lefty prospect in all baseball.
That's tough.
That's a
tough.
blow.
That's tough. But I'm getting Shohei Ohtani. So now I got Logan Webb, Shohei Ohtani in the top 2 of my rotation.
And
I've got Shohei Ohtani in the middle of my lineup.
DH.
And you're going to make a run at Aaron Judge. And who knows what happens with Trey Turner? Who knows what happens at first base?
Wouldn't you agree that would be a dramatic philosophical change from the front office?
It would. It would.
So you would do that deal?
It'd be tough for me to say no for Shohei Ohtani. Shohei Ohtani we're talking about. I don't know what Luciano's going to be. I don't know
He's
what Matos is going to be.
a right fielder.
It's the same kind of thing with Christian McCaffrey, right? We're trading all these picks for Christian McCaffrey.
I'll give up 2 of those guys. I'm not giving up 3. You don't give up your top 3 prospects.
You may be able. Boy, that'd be tough to say no. Shohei Ohtani? Shohei? Whew. All right, we got a break here.
I know.
All right.
I love him.
Anthony Slater, 8 o'clock, is going to talk some Dubs here. We're going to get a lot into the Dubs. Steve Kerr talked yesterday about the rotations or whatnot. We got a lot to get into there. The NFL as well. Great day in the NFL. Plus 957thegameshop.com. Go buy some gear. What's coming up? Sponsored by Vote Yes on Proposition 31. More of your phone calls. 888-957-9570. What is Proposition 31? Huh? Anybody know? Off the top of your head?
Curbs tobacco sales in California.
Oh, I like that. No tobacco. Kids don't smoke. Don't smoke tobacco. We'll be back.